Single parent Cassandra Calway supports her two teenage daughters by working at Cracker Barrel in Las Cruces. Because she's studying for a master's in social work, Calway can only work part-time.
You make $7.50 an hour, a box of cereal is $4, and a gallon of gas is $3.39. You're working 1 hour for that.
Calway gets $300 in government assistance for each of her daughters. She says combined with her earnings, they live off anywhere between $900 and $1,600 a month. But even in a good month, that would still leave the single income family of 3 living just below the poverty line. Calway says her work situation is likely to improve once she graduates. But that's not going to be for another 3 years, and she's concerned about the effect on her daughter's education and opportunities.
School supplies every year are horribly expensive. And then they get to school and then there's a whole nother list, you know? What do we want?
There are 2 proposals to raise the minimum wage in Las Cruces, but only the one proposed by CAFE, Communities in Action and Faith, would raise the tipped minimum wage from $2.13 to $6.06 by 2017. When tipped wage workers' base wage and tipped earnings combined don't add up to the minimum wage, employers are federally mandated to cover the difference. City Council members Miguel Silva and Ciel Levantino have proposed a much smaller increase. Their plan would increase the wage to $8.50 by 2016. And if tipped workers did not earn this amount from their base wage and tips, the shortfall would still have to be made up by their employer. New Mexico State University economics professor Chris Erickson.
We don't need to do it by raising the tip minimum wage, but rather by raising the amount that they're guaranteed to make per hour, which is the minimum wage, not the tip minimum wage.
But Calway says the councillor's plan is not so straightforward. She says servers at Cracker Barrel sometimes perform other duties, during which they can't earn tips.
Let's say you were there 3 hours and you made $50. You've met the minimum for the day. So you won't get paid the extra for those 2 hours that you were not on the floor, because you've made the minimum wage requirement for 5 hours.
Calway says a higher base wage, closer to $6, means employees would be adequately compensated for work when they can't earn tips. But Dickerson Group restaurant owner Marcy Dickerson says most of her tipped wage workers already earn far more than the minimum wage.
My average waitress pulls in $1,000 a week. That's $52,000 a year.
Erickson says a higher tipped minimum wage probably would not damage the larger chains, but could hurt independent restaurants.
Often they end up not being able to expand or even shrinking their business a little bit, whereas the large chains, because they have deeper pockets, are able to take advantage of that and gain market share.
Dickerson says the higher tipped minimum wage would take away opportunities from servers moving up and working hard to hone their skills.
50 new jobs are being brought to this town, in addition to the money that we're going to spend in the construction. Those types of things will not be possible. That expansion will not be possible. The extra employment will not be possible if we are taxed to the point and we are overburdened to the point that there's no money left.
Dickerson says the onus is on lower skilled tipped wage earners to improve their skills and experience to find better opportunities. Calway has been serving at Cracker Barrel for 5 years and has considered getting a job at a more expensive restaurant, but the night hours required would have kept her away from her teenage daughters.
You know, I'll never own a brand new car or never own a house of my own, but I'm going to make sure that the girls do. And that's the goal now, is to make it better as we go on, you know, to kind of stop the circle of poverty.
For KRWG, I'm Simon Thompson.